Hello, this is John Ryan, and with me is Thomas Rosenberger.
That's right.
Yeah, he's one of our candidates for the open board of director seat. And we got a series of questions. I'm going to try and ask everybody the same sorts of questions. Doesn't mean we'll have some logical follow-ons if that's the case. But first, I don't know you at all. So tell me a little bit about your handball related background.
Yeah. So like a lot of players in the US, I've got my first taste in college. So I went to Ohio State for undergrad, and very quickly got recruited to join the handball club there. I was actually one of the team's first recruits, played in the first year that team existed. Very quickly took on a leadership role within that organization to help it grow. When I left, we had a very solid foundation. It's now three teams at Ohio State, so quickly became one of the larger college clubs in the country. After graduating, joined the Columbus Armada as a founding member of that club, and continued to grow that team and play with that team. Had the opportunity to travel a little bit when I was in college for handball. Went to Denmark and Germany to play for a little bit, not professionally, just some spring break trips. And don't get to travel as much these days, but still play whenever I can for the Armada.
Um, uh, what about your non-related handball background? What's that? How might it facilitate you being a good board member?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and I think that background's really one of the reasons that I think I'm an appropriate choice for this board position. So, um, you know, I had the opportunity to start a nonprofit when I was in college. It was a food pantry, and I've helped that organization grow, from an idea to something that has raised millions of dollars, something that has full-time staff members, something that helps 400 people a month with food insecurity. And I continue to sit on the board of directors for that organization today. And so I have that experience of being a board member, understanding what it means to put together a strategic plan to help an organization grow, go out and find the resources to deliver on that strategic plan, but then also hold people accountable to actually take action on that. And so that's something I think is really important in a board member, and something that I think the USA Team Handball Board has lacked in the past, and something I want to bring to the board. So that's one piece of it. Another piece of the background that I think is important is, in a previous life, previous career path, I was a political consultant. So I had the opportunity to fundraise millions of dollars more for different ballot issue campaigns. And so, again, when I look at the past 10 years that I've been involved in playing team handball, one of the biggest issues that comes up time after time after time is we just don't have the resources to do all the things that we need to be doing. And so that background of raising funds for nonprofits, raising funds for political campaigns is something that I think is really important as we build this new board, that those skills are present, and something that I think I can bring to the board.
All right, well, great. Um, and I think you've kind of leads into the next question, but you can further elaborate. Why do you want to be a board member?
Yeah. So having played handball for 10 years, it's been a ton of fun for me. I've made some of my closest friends, and so the sport means a lot to me in that respect. And so, I've always looked for ways locally to give back, whether it's helping build that OSU team, the Armada team, just volunteering to work tables at a tournament. But this seems like a logical next step where I can take those skills that I've built over the past 10 years and really apply them at a high level, and take the skills that have been missing at a high level in this organization, and bring them there.
All right, so now I got a couple topics uh, that I want to touch on. We can talk about some more topics after that. But what are your thoughts regarding what happened with the board of directors this past summer, and how it might inform your role on the board and the decisions it makes?
Yeah, so obviously a lot happened in the past summer at the board level and staff level within USA Team Handball. Make of it what you will, whether you like the outcome or not. I think one of the key takeaways for me is it shows there's a lot of passion in this community, right? To have all the things that happened and the fights that occurred. And, you know, to see all that passion, I think for me, the next step for this board is they need to find a way to harness that. Right, we're 3.5 years out from the 2028 LA Olympics. There's not time to rehash any of that. We've got to move on. We've got to harness that passion sooner rather than later. And so, taking what happened, let's move on from it. Let's come up with a strategic plan that we can harness that passion that was shown during all of that. And let's go find the resources to execute on that plan. But dwelling on it, I don't think is very productive.
Okay, fair enough. Um, what are your thoughts regarding what historically has been a big resource decision for the board? How much resources should be applied towards national teams, and how much should be applied towards development?
Yeah. Um, so to be honest, in my opinion, we shouldn't, that's a conversation we shouldn't have to have if the board's doing its job, right? So we've had to have that discussion in the past because we haven't had the resources to do both. We've had to choose. But if the board is doing its job well, we should have a plan and the resources to do both of those things. And so it's my goal and my hope that with my experience with a lot of the board changing over, we'll be able to put the resources in place to be able to do both those things and not have to choose one or the other.
Well, yeah, I guess I'll follow up on that a little bit. It's always nice not to have to make choices because we have so much resources. Um, but and I don't think it's at sometimes it has been a one or the other kind of issue. Um, but in terms of uh, priority, is there one that you lean more towards than the other?
Yeah. If I was in a position where I had to choose, um, I'd say I'd say the development of programs at a younger level is where I would choose, right? That's where the future of the program is going to get built. You might be able to temporarily compete at a high level if you focus on that national team. But it's temporary fleeting success, right? You're not going to sustain an organization with that. If you're going to grow, continue, and long term build a sustainable national team, you got to start that development at the youth level sooner rather than level. And so, if I had to choose, investing there is where I would go. But again, uh, as we form this new board, if they're doing their jobs right, we shouldn't have to choose. That's not a choice we should have to make.
Right. Um, Now I open it up if there are any other issues that you'd like to highlight as a point of emphasis or share with potential voters your feelings on any particular issues that you're concerned with.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've touched on it throughout this interview, but I think for me, the key thing that I've seen missing from USA Team Handball, again, over the past 10 years, is there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of ideas, but we have not had a consistent strategic plan that we've had the resources to execute on during that time. And so, really, for me, what I'm basing my whole campaign around is my experience building out strategic plans like that, and finding the resources to carry them out. That's what I want to do for USA Team Handball. That's what I think has been missing. And that's what I think I can bring to the table. And so I really just want to highlight that fact that we need resources, we need a coherent plan, and we need to hold the staff, the volunteers, the board accountable to completing that plan.
Well, that's music to my ears personally in terms of a strategic plan. Um, well, that's great. It's been great to get to know you, and if we'll see what happens with the election. But thanks for taking the time to chat with me, and well, we'll get this out there for everybody else to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you inviting me on, John. And it was a pleasure talking to you and look forward to hopefully working with you in the future on this.
Great. Thanks a lot.